they can just do a data task and get those updated.
I just know that if you guys have customer records on like your tenants in Service Titan, there's got to be this huge flag on me that says she's a pain in the ass. I have like 40 support tickets out there already.
No, well, squeaky wheel gets the grease. And if it's not working, it's not what are you supposed to do? Just like put and bear it? No, and there's no tag. I tell you,
if I were you, I would be like,
there's no
ugh.
tag.
Just a tag that says ugh.
Yikes as the tag. No, there's no tag. But you know what? I might put that in like an internal ideas because it could have merit, We'll see how
Yeah.
We have one that's it's a
Pass
cactus.
to the news person.
Yeah, we have one that's a cactus for prickly customers.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, so my we for one of the businesses, it's small scale, so they use a different software, but she has tags on customers that like maybe don't pay when they're supposed to, and it's a doghouse. Which is
Makes sense.
Anyways, okay. Hey, thanks for sharing. We're getting started. We're doing the darn thing. Thank you for letting me know your TAD scores. That is great. We are going through lots of features today. So we are on week 2. We are going to talk, right? Unless I'm wrong, we're on week 2. Confirm my reality. Stunning. Good. I know how a calendar works. That's awesome. We are going to talk about measure your marketing with phone integrations. We're going to talk about track your marketing with core marketing campaigns, ensuring CSRs click call bubbles to get key insights, review CSR call recordings, capture email addresses to connect with the right customers, and match jobs to text with the right skills. Depending on if you use pro products, depending on kind of how far you are in your journey, you might have full setup on these things. At the very least, we'll go through like the settings and the what to set up in case you do need to ever make any edits. But if all of you with any of these features are like, oh yeah, 10 out of 10, we can just skip it and we'll keep on keeping on. Sound good? Any questions from anyone either about like things from last week or in general before we get started? We're good? We're rolling? Nice. Okay, cool. Let's hop into Titan Advisor and I will share my screen here. Okay, well, we're gonna go into TAD. So rocket ship icon in the top right of your screen, and we are going to be talking about measure your marketing with phone integration. So first thing we're gonna do on business sections, we're gonna go into lead generation, and we are on launch. We have track your marketing with one ladder's up to the other. We have measure your marketing with phone integrations. What are we looking at in terms of completed and points here, folks?
We're completed 5 out of 5.
Completed 5 out of 5.
5. Mel, Tracy.
Getting there. Yeah, I'm 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Where is it? I'm not seeing it. Sorry.
Oh, good. So in the rocket ship icon, then under lead generation for business sections, under launch, you should see measure your marketing with phone integrations.
So I clicked on the rocket ship. And then what?
Lead generation on business, under business sections on the left-hand side.
I don't see business.
Can I get you to share your screen with us really quick?
Maybe. I'm on my laptop because I work from home on Tuesdays.
Yeah, all good. If just on Zoom, if you click where it says share at the very bottom, it's a green button, we'll be able to see your screen.
Did that work?
Did, yeah. So going on here. So business sections on the left-hand side. There's two different menus. There's your black bar menu and then a white bar menu. Under business sections, it'll be the first one. It says lead generation. I'll get you to click on that. Then in launch, you have measure your marketing with phone integrations. You folks are completed and you are 5 of 5, which is great. I think, is that everyone then? Is there anyone who doesn't have 5 out of 5? I know Sheila just popped in here. We are looking at measure your marketing with phone integration. So that's Titan Advisor, and then lead generation and launch. It seems like everybody has it set up. Sheila does as well. Awesome. Okay, cool. So what we will do then is we'll just absolutely bob through it. So measure your marketing with phone integrations. We all have this set up. We're clearly all using it, at least in part. Why do we care? What is good about it? When it's set up correctly and being utilized, your reporting is spot on in terms of where are these things coming from. It allows you to get a more accurate ROI tracking. The other thing too that we hear a lot is folks will say, oh, like we have a third party who does our marketing for us. It's a really good kind of check back, right? Because if these things are connected, if you also have your own numbers and the marketing folks come to you and say, oh yeah, we made you $1 billion. And you're like, well, I think only half that. It's a good kind of check, right? So what do we set up? Number one, we need to have a forwarding number set. And number two is we need to have at least one active tracking number. Since you folks all have this set up, that means that you are all have your phones integrated with Service Titan, correct? Everyone's integrated. How is that going? Fine.
Yeah, the only problem we have is after hours because it goes to a live answering service. So they're all categorized as abandoned calls, and I have to go in and listen to each one and then fix it because they're not abandoned. They went to the answering service and then we return the call.
We have had issues from the beginning of our onboarding with call quality we have brought CSMs in on it. We ran a direct fiber optic line straight to our office because they were certain that that's what it is. Like, we have a dedicated fiber line to our office. It is not correct. And I just was sharing with Jordan last week. We don't know if it's hardware related. Now we're chasing ourselves in circles trying to figure this out. But call quality, I am surprised. I mean, our reviews have not been impacted by it, and customers have been more than patient. But it is not good.
Are you on Phones Pro?
I believe, Jordan, we use Phones Pro, right?
Yeah, we're on Dialpad, but it's considered Phones Pro, I guess. But we use Dialpad through Service Titan.
At our previous company, we had terrible time with voice quality with Phones Pro. We just ended up porting in our main number, but not utilizing Phones Pro, and we've not had an issue. But we had the same issue. Is it like echoing and things like that?
Yeah, clicky, glitchy, kind of.
Yeah, we always had that issue too, and it didn't matter what it was. Unfortunately, with
That
Phones
might be my
Pro.
answer. We can talk to our CSM about that, Jordan, when we get that meeting.
So Phones Pro is, like I said, pro product, next level stuff. You guys are final bossing it, Service Titan styles. There is sometimes like folks have confusion about how like call bubbles work and the integration and all that kind of stuff. Like at the very base level, your phones are still your phones, right? And this is not Phones Pro. Base level, your phones are still your phones. So when you're clicking call bubbles and that kind of stuff, like that is still your landline. However, when you're going to the Phones Pro side of things, that's when, yeah, you get other integrations that are involved, dial pad, all that kind of stuff. I like your plan of action of going to your CSM because that's, I mean, you're paying for a service and not good quality. So, I wish I had better news. I was like, oh yeah, I can fix that. I'm the one who has the key. Duh. I'm not that nerdy. Not yet.
And we also found that sometimes it has to do with the porting in. Like if you didn't port in your number and you're doing like a double loop on the like your hunt group is going to here and then going to there. I'm not great with phones. I always have to think of it like very visually, but I know whenever it's doing like what they call as a double loop, that sometimes that also causes glitchiness and echoing. Just I don't know why, but fun things I've learned.
I'll say this. We send people to space, but I go in a valley and all of a sudden I can't talk to my brother who lives 3 hours away. Phones don't make any sense, regardless of where they're coming from. The phone's pro, the whatever, none of it makes any sense. We can set someone, there's a gal going to Mars. It's not quite right. Okay, so for this feature specifically, we are all set up. How did I get to this in case you ever need to change things or whatever it may be? We are in our settings menu in the top right, and I just search for phones because I'm not looking through all that big list. What we want to make sure is that we have a set forwarding number. So your set forwarding number, this is like your back office phone number. This is not necessarily a number that you're going to have plastered all over the place. It's unadvertised. You're not giving it out to customers, right? Then as we look at all of these different phone numbers, ServiceTitan has a fairly large kind of pool of numbers that they can pull from. Let's say, for example, you are a 519 girly like me, and you search and you go, oh, hey, there's nothing in here. It's because I live in the smallest place in Ontario. But you are able to reach out to support and say, hey, like this is the area code that I'm looking for. I don't have, like, there's nothing coming up. They are able to source additional phone numbers. It can take a little bit of time, but it's not anything crazy. Alternatively, so in my area, we have a new or a new area code. They can also say, hey, we have this other area code available instead. Has everyone seen this before? Done this before? Nice. Has anyone run into the area code thing, or do you guys all live in places that aren't a blip on a map like me? Good thus far? Like I said, in the future, if you ever need and you're like, it's not coming up, what the heck? That's a reach out to support. They deal with that all the time. They can get that set up for you. Perfect. So once we have all of these phone numbers that are made, we want at least one of them and our forwarding number set to have this feature set up, which we already do. But what that ladders up into is our track your marketing with core marketing campaigns piece, which is the next feature we're talking about. We are in Titan Advisor. We are under the business section that is lead generation. We are in launch, and we are looking at track your marketing with core marketing campaigns. What do we have? 5 out of 5 all completes?
0 out of 5.
Okay.
5 out of 5 for us.
Yeah. Final 5. 5 out of, pardon, Colleen?
2 out of 5.
5. Okay. Tracy, how about you folks? And then we have Sheila too. Thank you, Sheila. Sheila said chat. Never heard of her. Signing. That's the one for me. How are you folks doing, Tracy? Oh, you're on mute.
I'm 5 out of 5. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Well, we will go through it because we have some kind of different levels here. What is this feature? Track your marketing with core marketing campaigns. So why do we care? Marketing campaigns are attributed to leads, right? And our book jobs, revenue, all of that kind of stuff. We basically want to know if I'm putting, if I'm wrapping all my trucks with a phone number, or I'm doing lawn signs or door hangers or billboards, whatever it may be. What am I looking at in terms of ROI? And also, how much is it costing me to get this phone to ring, right? Any questions on that? I said a lot of words very quickly. in a vernacular that is sometimes confusing. All good? Awesome, awesome. Okay, cool. So we have a what to set up. So that is our one what to set up piece, and that is to create marketing campaigns. So you can do this retroactively. Lots of folks do that. They say, we know that this number's on this thing, whatever, or you can just kind of pick a date and say, starting now, we're going to track everything through here. So you create a unique campaign for each of your marketing efforts. Like I said, door hangers, lawn signs, whatever you folks are running. To have our setup completed, we want to create and activate at least 5 active campaigns. So let's talk about getting that done. I am back in my tab that has settings open. And it is under operations, but again, I don't want to search through that. So I just search for campaigns. And I have lots in here. For folks who are 5 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, what are we doing in here? What campaigns have you seen a lot of success with? What are you like, oh yeah, it's not worth it, we don't run that anymore? What kind of campaigns do you folks have running?
So we have quite a few running. However, I do have a marketing person here that handles it all, so I really can't speak much more than there's a bunch featured, and I know she runs many different avenues.
Awesome.
I think some of our score issue is we have a ton of campaigns, and so our percentage is lower than what we have connected. So it's only showing 16% connected. But I think what we had learned along the way, John, you could speak. I have 107 campaigns.
Givner, okay, perfect. But only 16% of that you have a tracking number associated to.
Yeah, that's what that previous page was showing me. John, you could speak probably better than I could about this. I believe this is what you would. This is sort of your arena here.
Yeah, well, we don't use most of the ones that came default in. And when we migrated from House Call Pro, we already had all of our CSRs accustomed to certain campaigns that we call them something else in House Call Pro. So we created all of the ones that they were accustomed to for when we were in this system.
And of the ones that were like auto in here, are part of making sure that metric is effective is like, yeah, if something is not active, do you have them deactivated, or is everything just living inactive?
We've deactivated a few of them, but most of them we just kept in case. So like Angie's list, we're not on Angie's list, but I don't know if we're on there. And for fear that somebody would actually call in and say, "Yeah, I found you on Angie's list," I didn't want to deactivate it.
Okay. Yeah, so what typically, if it's not a campaign that you're like actively running or kind of trying to track, folks will go through and deactivate. The thing about Service Titan, and you guys already know this, but I'll say it anyways, is like it loves to snitch, it never forgets, right? So even if you deactivate something, it still lives. Which is why when we go to add stuff, I usually say like, hey, check out deactivated first to see if it's already there. Maybe you can just reactivate something. Yeah, typically folks just kind of go in, bulk edit, and then you can change it to inactive. And it is pretty simple to flip stuff back on as you need.
For the ones that don't have numbers, is it best to just deactivate them? We have a bunch that I'm looking at that don't have a number associated.
I mean, ultimately, is it best for the Titan score? Yeah, I suppose. But if you are actively using them and you are also potentially using the kind of costing, as much as it's manual, the costing feature that's inside of that, like for cleanliness of data, I would keep it. Melanie, you unmuted? You got something?
Yeah. Well, so we're using Marketing Pro, so I think our campaigns live there, not in our settings, because I don't have a campaigns under my operations.
I think that it in here.
I was just making sure I wasn't like losing my mind here.
You might be, but I don't think specifically for this.
Okay, sounds
Not at
good.
this time. Yeah, I think so this account has Marketing Pro. You'd live somewhere in here, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, pro products, they live outside of my wheelhouse. They're too fancy for me. Okay, I will pull up campaigns here again. So for folks that maybe don't have a ton of campaigns in here, how do we add them? You would guess it. We use that big add button. You can put the name of the campaign, category. This is really nice. And if you do the hover to discover it, it pulls up, explains what it does. But if you're doing stuff that's digital, if you're doing things that are paper-based, whatever, you can kind of put them in these different campaign categories that you create. Business unit, self-explanatory, advertised number. That is the tracking number that we made, right? So that's that new phone number that we would have made. It does not matter if you create a campaign and then go and get a phone number and then go back, or if you get the phone number, then it doesn't matter which way you go on that. You can still get that sorted out. So I'm going to pop into, whichever campaign. The other thing too is that you can have several phone numbers associated to a campaign, especially if you have something that's long running or whatever. All good. Perfect. So that is, if we look here, how we are not only creating these campaigns, but also then linking the campaigns, right, is with that number that we've already created. Does anybody have any questions on that?
I think I want to know best practices. Like, are we too granular with 107? Like, and there's reasons that we try to track some of this. We do a lot of referral marketing, and we have certain partners that it helps us to track. But what is there like every time we're running a different print campaign? Is it better to just categorize that and say direct mail, or create each one?
So, depends. If you folks run all your marketing in-house, yeah.
Most everything.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So typically, like what I see a lot of is that, people get really general with their actual like campaign categories. So direct mail, whatever it may be, right? But every campaign that you're like individually spending money on, you do want to get a measurement on that, right? So do I think that having a ton of them is a bad thing? No. With that being said, like I do think that that's the best way to do it, and that's typically what we see. But with that being said, if it's getting to a point where it's either not serving you as a company or it's too difficult to manage, then yeah, absolutely, you can reassess. I guess I'll turn that question over to the group too. I know some of you are using Marketing Pro, but what is everybody else doing?
We've actually made a required field in Service Titan when we're taking or booking a call to ask where they heard about us, because we keep finding that they may get a postcard with a weird number on it that we've created, but then they're going to Google to find us. Like, it's not super accurate. So we're making our CSRs ask every time how they heard about us, and that way they say like, "Oh, I got a postcard in the mail," even though the call came through as an LSA lead.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're similar to how you explained it, Erica, is we have our general campaigns, but every single piece of marketing we do has its own smart number attached to that. So that way we can market effectiveness. So like our vans have a different number, then our business cards have a different number. We have pens that have a different number. Like everything has a different number. So that way we can go back and say, oh, well, that was a good investment. So we'll spend more money into that. So that's how we do it. So we also have a bajillion smart numbers.
So are you layering those numbers under the campaign? Is that what you're adding, multiple numbers under that type of campaign?
Yeah, and then when the
do
call comes in, you'll see it come in under the pens, but
that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
yeah. Nobody calls from the pens, but I still have a smart number on it.
But start giving pens out at Halloween. You know what I mean? The kids
We
can
have so many. I was very proud of them. I got the whole number on there and our logo. It was a feat. So
Colleen and Jake's. What do you folks do? What do you do, Sheila?
I don't do a lot with marketing, but we have a company that handles our marketing, and we have Marketing Pro, uh, which it looks like when I go to my Marketing Pro screen, it says we haven't even completely integrated it. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I don't. That's something I keep my hands out of in here mostly, for the most part. So
That's fair. That's fair.
I
That's
don't
not
know.
like counting. Like that's not my business.
I try to keep, there's certain things I try to keep out of, but then I always end up getting roped in, and then I end up in charge of them. So I try to stay out of them as much as I can.
All
That's
right,
just being honest.
that's fair. Okay, cool. Yeah, like I said, I mean, ultimately, you want to know, even if like postcards, you could find right that postcards are effective during one season, but they're not effective during another, right? Like the more granular you are, the better you can track that spend. But like I said, if it's getting to a point where you can't manage it, then yeah, you have to kind of take a look. All righty, so let's keep on keeping on. We talked about tracking your marketing with core marketing campaigns. Next one is ensure CSRs click call bubbles to get key insights. I'm going to share my screen here. We are going to be in job booking and dispatching. And we're in launch. So ensure CSRs click call bubbles to get key insights. It's a snazzy title. I won't lie, she's a snazzy title. So why do we like it? We like it because they click on it, and then obviously the folks' names come up, and we can have a more personalized service, and we can look at some history stuff. All of that is great. But what it also does is it attaches that CSR to that call, which is important. It makes sure that, you know, for the most part, we're getting these calls classified, hopefully automatically. And yeah, it makes sure that the correct call is on the correct ticket. What we get a ton of questions on is people will get kind of nervy, especially if there's a bunch of calls coming in, right? And they're like, well, I put this person on hold and then I did this, that, whatever. As long as you click on that call, you can go and do other stuff, right? It stays up. So that's just kind of a word to the wise, because sometimes folks think like, oh, once I click on it, I'm stuck. I can't do anything. You are able to, like I said, click on another call bubble. You're able to go do other stuff in Service Titan, and it will keep track. It'll keep track of all of that. So bear with me here for a moment. What are we looking at in terms of progress and points? How's everyone doing?
Good.
We have everything set up.
Everything perfect.
Everything's set up as well.
Stonen, Tracy.
Yeah, we're good here.
Yeah, everything's set up.
It is flashing that we're not using some of the features or one of the features.
Okay. So let's talk about that. When we click into here, it's going to give us this beautiful little GIF, whatever you want to call it, that is given, shows you what we're looking at. But the setup pieces are what we already did, so we shouldn't be too worried about that. It's set up tracking numbers and set up campaigns. Cool. But then we're looking at our how to use. So Matt, are you saying that you maybe have over 50 but not over 75%? Is that the issue?
No, it says all set up, but on the right it says how you're using features, and then it says 0 of 3 points. That went under that. I have two columns. One that says what's set up. It says you've set everything up, and on the right it says bulk dispatch technicians for appointments. That's flashing red and says 0 of 3 points. Everything else is 5 of 5 or 3 of 3.
Okay, yeah. So that's a different feature. This will be the ensure CSRs click call bubbles to get key insights. Is that one completed in all 5 points? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. That bulk dispatching is cool, but it is a different feature. Helpful for days and stuff like that. It is not a feature that we cover in Ember residential sessions, but it's a good one if anyone's interested. We see a lot of companies that are weather dependent, roofing, exteriors, that sort of thing, that use that feature. Alrighty, so we know why we care about clicking these call bubbles, and then how to use. I mean, the GIF at the top there shows you, right? Call comes in, you're gonna see the little red bubble on your call screen. You click it, and then you're able to do what you need to do. Again, I already said it, but once you click that call bubble, it is associated with that CSR. The only way that you're moving things is there is that acknowledgement, right? Where if somebody else clicks the bubble, they ask, are we reassigning? All of that kind of stuff. We absolutely flew through that because everyone seemingly has it complete. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. We've had this happen more than once, and nobody at First Mate seems to know what to do about it. So a CSR will click on the bubble and start talking, and then need to transfer that call to another CSR, or maybe our dispatcher or whatever. And then it doesn't get closed or assigned like it should. Is the person that it was transferred to supposed to do that, or is it the original person?
Yeah, so what actually would happen is that, that's what I was talking about, where your phones are, kind of independent on that side, right? So they would do what they normally do on the phone, transfer it to the other person. That other person would click that call bubble on their Service Titan screen, and it asks, are we essentially reassigning this to another person?
And so if that person is getting transferred to on dial pad and not in front of a Service Titan screen, which happens a ton at our company, what happens in that situation?
Well, you would still assign it to them as a...
The CSR then is assigning, but that person doesn't claim that call the same way? That
No.
still gets...
Yeah, what happens is my team deals with it constantly with Mark. But so when we transfer a call, since you guys can't click that bubble, it stays on the CSR. So then the CSR has to close and classify that call. And a lot of times they'll just write transferred to Mark.
And what's unfortunate is when you then look in call log histories, you can't always see that call you can't find out who the end user was. It just always looks like the CSR has had that call. You have to just kind of look and gauge by time and hope you guess at the right one. That's why, so we could solve that if essentially the calls were being transferred and he was claiming them in a bubble, then I'm going to see that second call in the call history.
Yeah, but they would have to claim it. Yeah, because if you're, okay. I mean, yeah, you folks said ultimately once it's on dial pad, they don't have the call, so they can't click the bubble because they're not in front of Service Titan. You know what? I don't love that. I'm not sure if there's a workaround or prefer a best practice to that. I'll look into it. So transferred outside. Yeah, because then your CSR metrics, all through your, your CSR, dashboard is then also going to be incorrect because it's not actually the end user of the call. How often is this happening to you folks?
Decent. Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Multiple times.
And Tracy, you folks, it's not that it's still inside Service Titan, right? I think what Matt and folks are talking about is a separate issue to yours, right? These are that they're just transferring inside Service Titan, right?
Well, we use dial pad too. So you answer the call with dial pad and then you click the button. So it just kind of depends if the CSR answers and it's for the dispatcher, she'll transfer it in dial pad. And then if the dispatcher is not sitting at her desk right there with Service Titan, she's not clicking the bubble. And so then the call just ends up not being categorized.
Yeah, it'll sit. I'll look into what the best practice is for that. I'm sure we are all unique, but that's happened. You know what I mean? I'll look up best practice for that. Awesome. All right, let's keep on keeping on. Sharing screen here. Move our faces. We'll go back to Titan Advisor. Next thing we're talking about is review call recordings to improve CSR performance. So why do we care about this thing? Well, we use it for coaching is probably the biggest one. But also when it's set up correctly, jobs and booking rates will include the most accurate info for those CSRs. So let's do what we need to do. So we are in Titan Advisor under business sections. We're going to go to job booking and dispatching. And we're actually going to bop all the way over to optimization. I typically do a little Command F and search for review call recordings. It is right here. What do we have for points and for complete, incomplete? How's everyone doing?
0.
I have 3 out of 3.
Okay. Anyone else?
3 out of 3.
3 out of 3.
Okay. We are absolutely going to go through the feature, but something that is often helpful is for folks that maybe aren't utilizing this as of yet, do you have a process baked in on how you do this? Is it that you want to use it, but you just haven't been? What's the situation?
I think we have a lot of new people still kind of figuring this out, and our dream would be, yes, we would have enough time and bandwidth to be able to look at these, because especially we have a brand new CSR, another CSR has been with us for a long time, but still need some coaching in some areas, and but it's really, I think, primarily we're again still trying to get our feet under us in some ways with Service Titan, but yeah, it's a feature we would love to use.
Is there anyone on the call who is responsible for these call recording reviews?
I am.
You are? Yeah?
Yeah. And so every morning I do it for an hour. I review all the calls that went to the answering service overnight, and then I go back and review CSR calls from the day before. And we also use the Nextstar CubeSide form for our CSRs. They fill it out once a week, and they attach their call to it and post it in Slack so we can all listen to their call and look at their form.
Neat. Okay. Do you typically access calls through the dashboard, or do you do the global search?
I do it through the dashboard.
Cool. Okay, so let's talk about the feature and how we can get this thing set up. So number one, there are 2 setup pieces. We need to have our call reasons set up. We will go into our settings to do that. We need to have at least 4 active call reasons. Next is set up call reasons that are marked as lead. Our success criteria on that is at least 1 active call reason is marked as a lead. I am going to pop this get started because it brings me right to where I'm looking to be. So we are in settings, and then you can search for call reasons, or it is under operations as well, under call reasons. Now, this account has a ton of different call reasons. Customer asked estimates, they want to cancel, all of these things, right? Some call reasons like out of service area. Well, that's not something that a CSR is expected to be able to like overcome on the phone, right? That's not a lead. You folks just don't service that area. Something like wanted price over the phone or didn't want to pay dispatch fee. Those are things that for a lot of companies, they do mark as a lead because we're hoping that our CSR is able to overcome that on the phone, right? Matt, I see your mouth moving, but you're not. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, cool. So use call reasons to indicate why calls were or were not booked into the job. Then use that data to generate reports for your CSR performance. What call reasons do you folks have? I'm sure there's lots of super normal ones, but maybe hit me with the like kind of weird ones, but that are weirdly helpful. Melanie, I feel like you might have something for this.
I'm looking at it. Let's see if there's any weird ones. Need landlord permission, I guess. That's the only kind of weird one, but I feel like that's not really that weird.
It's a good one though.
Yeah, other than that, no. When we acquired this company, they did a lot of property management work, and they actually were the ones that were doing the communicating with the tenants. We have since cut that off because, yeah, I've never done that, and so I think that's why that call reason got put in there, because I was like, stop talking to tenants, talk to the homeowner.
Fair. Absolutely. Okay, cool. So I will bop into a call reason just so we can see the screen. They're super duper simple, right? So if we add one, we give it a name. Is it a lead? Yes or no. The is it a lead? It's a little button. It doesn't feel like a big deal, but it can really affect metrics. So my recommendation is to go through your list, no matter how big or small, make sure that they are active or deactivated as needed, but also that the lead stuff is set up appropriately, because it can really throw some wrench in some metrics. That is actually both of the setup pieces for that. It is the call reasons, and then it's also that they are marked as a lead or not. So we set up some call reasons. At least 4 would need to be active, and then we need to have at least 1 that is marked as a lead. How are we getting those sweet points? Well, if over 1 of the number of calls marked correct or reclassified in the last 30 days divided by the number of CSRs on your account. So that's another thing too. Another reason to keep the account super clean in terms of users, because if you have a CSR that maybe doesn't work for you folks anymore, but they've just been hanging out there, that can affect this metric. If we have more than 1, we're getting 1 point, and over 4, we're getting 3 points. What do we have in terms of points here, folks?
3 out of 3.
So, sorry, you have 3 points, so over 4. Nice. Sheila, John, Colleen.
Mine says 142.67.
Okay. All right. Good.
Oh, you.
Yeah. Love that for you. That's your hour. That's your metric, Tracy. That's, you own that. Tattoo that on your forehead. That's your hour a day. Good for you. That's sick. Awesome. Okay.
She needs a badge if she goes to Pantheon, like call center superstar.
We'll just, yeah, when we're doing our breakout sessions, if we start talking about this, we'll just be like, actually, Tracy's gonna come up and talk. Rockstar.
Ours is 0.2. We're not getting a badge.
No bad. Okay, you know what?
We have 6, so
there's an array. Okay, everyone is on their own path. Okay, awesome. So Tracy, I kind of talked about it already. We can go straight from our dashboard on our call and CSR metrics. Mine is a nightmare. And I think we had talked about this already, Tracy, right? In case you're ever looking for a new fun way to look at things, you can go to the search screen. It's one of those same stuff, different view. So not only can you look at that through the dashboard, mine's being super slow right now, and be using this part of modular dashboard, but you can also use the global search and search through calls. It is nice that you can do it by call type, because then you can just bob through all the abandoned ones super quickly. This account has seemingly 15,000, so no points.
In fairness, I imagine, Jordan, this is the first time that you're seeing this. I don't think we ever set this up right. Looking at these, I think this was probably
I've never done it.
That's why we're here.
Takeaway, value add. Yay, team. Okay, perfect. We have 2 more features and 10 more minutes. Let's see if I can do this thing, guys. I'm gonna get us to go to that rocket ship icon in the top right. We are going to talk about capture email addresses to connect with customers. So job booking and dispatching is the business section. And then it should be in how you're using, because there's not a setup piece. Capture email addresses to connect with customers. They say that it's a quick win. I find that to be questionable because you would have to build this up by collecting email addresses as folks come through, but that's fine. What's everyone at? 0 to 5, 5 out of 5. Tracy's at 7 out of 5. She's vibing.
5 out of
5
5.
out of 5.
5.
Perfect. 5. 5's all around. Sheila, Colleen.
I'm not seeing it as one of
I have
ours from
5.
what we're using.
No, you're not even seeing the feature itself?
I see the how you're using, but not the capture email addresses.
Is
Unless
maybe so if you're
no,
in
I was in optimization still 5 out of 5.
okay, perfect. Awesome. Did we talk this group about what we do if someone just doesn't have an email address? Did we talk about that? I'm having a real deja vu-y kind of vibe lately. But what do you folks do? Obviously, lots of you, depending on what you have in terms of percentages here, are using this. But what do you do if someone's like, I don't have an email?
I cry.
Okay. Y'all
I
cope
tell them that's how we send our invoices. So, and then usually they're like, oh, okay, well, you can use this one. But sometimes there's elderly people that really don't have one. So, I mean, you can't do anything about that.
I think it's pretty rare for us.
That's just because you don't want John to cry. They put that on the script. John will cry on demand, seemingly.
That should be on our script.
Perfect. Look at we're so much value add today. Okay, so things that I've heard in the past. Couple things. One, some of you folks likely have that you like have to have an email address to even be able to book out a call. That is a configuration. Or you're able to book without it. You can hit that little contact not provided or whatever. It depends on how your account's set up. What we have heard a lot of, especially in like some companies that serve like a lot of retirement communities and for elderly who don't have emails, is they'll set up a no email at melanie.com. So with their domain, what's nice about it is then you are also able to kind of like track the number of folks that don't have emails or say they don't have emails. But yeah, it does help in making sure that's not blank. You can also add a tag that is a mail only on those customers. Or you can hire John. He'll come, cry on the phone, no problems. Service Titan provided. Right, John?
Sure.
Perfect. Alrighty. Does anyone have any questions on this piece? Basically what it's saying is like when we're booking jobs out, do we have email addresses for that service location or that bill to customer? Over 75%, you're getting 2 points. Over 90, you're getting 5. We like emails. Emails are great. Alrighty, last one, which is match jobs to technicians with the right skills. This feature makes my skin itch, and I am excited to tell you guys why. So in Titan Advisor, under business sections, job booking and dispatching, we are going to go back to optimization. Colleen, you were chilling in optimization. We're back. You were ahead of the curve. And we are looking at match jobs to techs with the right skills. What do we have in terms of points here, folks? 4, complete, incomplete?
I have 0 on this one.
Okay.
4.
0.
2 out of 4, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to take credit for those 2 points.
Mine is a little confusing because it says nothing is set up, but my score is 100%, but I'm not earning any points because it's not set up, but I'm earning 100%. I'm confused.
So, yeah, to risk sounding like the millennial I am, sad panda, because that is true. So if you don't have your setup pieces completed, even if you're getting like the utilization or it says, those are just missed points. So that means you have 4 points that are just like hanging in the wind. They're calling for you. So what we need to do is whatever pieces of your setup is not done, we need to get those things completed. What is this even? Basically, in Service Titan, you are able to assign skills to not only techs but also jobs, and job types. And what that does is that when you're booking, and you can kind of see the little video here, is if you go to put like assign a tech to a job type where the skills are mismatched, it will give you a notification that says so and so doesn't have this skill. It's not going to block them out from being able to book it. They can still book the job. It's just going to give them that notification saying, hey, so and so doesn't have this thing. I hear whispers that there's a revamp coming in skills, and I would like that because skills at this time cannot be bulk updated. So say you send all your guys through for a training, right? You got like 20 techs. They all get this training, you want them to have this skill. You can't export the skills, put them, that's not a thing. It is a manual lift and it can be time consuming, which is annoying, and I recognize that. So perhaps there's things in the works, fingers crossed. Skills also don't cascade. So say you have a job type that requires, I don't know, you have it set as like a level 3 skill, and you have a guy that has level 1, level 2, level 3, and you're assigning it to a job type that's level 3. The zeros in one of Service Titan is going to give you the alert that says, hey, or sorry, if the job type had those, John doesn't have 1 and 2. Do you still want to book him out? And your CSR or dispatcher's looking at it going, well, yeah, because he has 3. Like, it doesn't know that. So that's also just a bit of a caveat. With that being said, it skills are highly used and can be really, really helpful. It's also making sure that you're not sending your most qualified guys out for no job is beneath anyone, but you know what I mean. Any questions on the description there, why we would use it, why we care about it?
I have a quick one. So in the how to use it, it relates it to being towards booking the way you're mentioning. But if we start using schedule assistant, then it's only choosing people who have the skills for those jobs. Would we still get points if we did 100% of it through schedule assistant? Okay.
It doesn't know how you book the jobs out.
Okay.
Zeros and ones, John. Zeros and ones. It's doing its best.
I'm very much about a syntax, and it says when choosing a technician to assign to a job. And I'm like, wow, that's not how we're doing it.
What's up, Melanie?
I'm just thoroughly confused because it says what we're measuring for the how to use percent of jobs with a technician skill match over the last 30 days. And it says I'm currently at 100%, but how could that be if I don't have skills set up?
What do you have in here? Is there anything that says incomplete?
All of it's incomplete. That's why I'm so confused.
You're at 100% of zero.
Yeah, I don't. I can't show you because it'll not me, but yeah, it says what to set up: create skills, incomplete; assign skills to job types, incomplete; assign skills to text, incomplete; and then
we're gonna look at that after.
Okay.
After that doesn't see. I told you, it makes my skin itch. Like what?
That's why Titan Advisor and me have been fighting like hardcore, and I think anybody who's on the chat with me is like, we don't want to talk to her about her Titan Advisor anymore.
No, I like it's good. It is metric. Let's quickly go through because we have 1 minute. How to create these skills, how to assign them to job types, and assign them to text. So first thing, I'm going to hit my get started. It is bringing me into skills. So how do I get to skills if I don't just click that button? We are the gear icon, and then under search, you search for skills because it's under operations, because everything's under operations. This is pretty straightforward, right? It's literally add a skill, give it a name, that's it. This is what I'm talking about, where it's not smart enough to do like any kind of cascading or conditional logic on like if this skill and that skill then this thing. These are just naming. naming things. So these are examples of the skills that are in this specific demo account, right? Plumbing 1, 2, 3, test, etc. This is another one where I would recommend always looking at inactive before putting in a new skill, right? Because you don't want to get duplicates, even if it's one is active, one is not. Next is that we are going to assign those skills to job types, right? So we have this skill, we need to assign it to a job type. How do we do that? We click our little get started button. It is going to bring us into job types. You guessed it, folks. It is in the gear icon settings and then operations, because everything loves to be buried. It's going to pull up our job types. We would hit edit. And again, this is a piece that does require like kind of that upkeep, right? Kind of midway down, you're going to see where it says skills. So for this specific job type, that is e-breaker tripping, electrical breaker tripping, it has these skills associated with it. You are able to remove these things or add them as you need. Always scroll down and hit that save button. Okay, so now we created a bunch of skills in that big giant list. Now we've assigned a skill to a job type. But if we want to be kind of like matching these things up, we also need to assign the skills to techs. How do we do that? Gear icon in the top right. Then in your settings, you're going to search for technicians. It's actually under people. I'm going to pull up any old tech here. And right in that first part in their basic info is where we have the skills. So you're able to
be sharing your screen. If you are, I can't see it.
Oh,
I can see it.
see it? Okay, that's good.
I can see it.
Okay, maybe it's just me. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Now I can see it.
Oh, perfect. Maybe I'm narrating enough that it's okay. Gear icon, people, we're looking at text. So then we want to be adding skills. Like I said, this is the manual piece, right? Where you're kind of like updating this as folks get additional skills. But the result, once we hit our save changes, is that we have all of our setup completed. We have created the list of skills, and then we have taken skills from that list, put them on a certain job type, put them on a certain tech or multiple techs. And it also means that when we are in our nightmare board here, hopefully this is a job with a skill attached to it. Let's look. Obviously no skills, guys, because that would make my life really easy. Okay. So if we go to assign this to someone else, it's going to say, hey, this job requires all of these skills, and that tech doesn't have them. Do you want to assign it anyways? It's not going to block you. You are able to click assign, and Bob's your uncle. Maybe not. His name might be something different. That was our rapid fire last match jobs to text with the right skills. I will send a follow-up email with like what features we looked at, how to get to them, and then supporting articles as well. I will still be back another 5 minutes here in case anyone has any questions either about what we talked about or Melanie, whatever nightmare thing is happening to you. And then, yeah, if anyone has absolutely any questions, feel free to reach out. You all have my email. I'll stick around, but that's regular scheduled programming is safe in me.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Tracy.
you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Colleen.